you want to see rusted out factories scattered like tombstones, start in Detroit. Michigan voted twice for Obama, but last November was critical to Trump's victory.
I love the way you walk. I love the way you walk.
With its recent history of industrial decline, his Make America Great Again message carried the state.
When they heard somebody say, I'm going to remember you, I'm going to speak directly to you, I'm going to fix the problem, I'm the man to do it based on my experience, he won over the hearts and minds of the tens of millions of people, and including the Michiganders that turned the state red.
I like the way you twitch. You my babe, I got my eyes on you.
So where better to look for the voters' verdict on those first 100 days in office?
Of course, in a neighborhood like this in Detroit, many of the first 100 days issues that resonate in Washington have no meaning whatsoever. And if you come here looking for signs of buyer's regret on the part of Trump voters, you'll be disappointed.
In the post-apocalyptic remains of Detroit's industrial heyday, Alan Hill scavenges metal and looks to his president for change.
People have faith in Trump. You know, prior to that, previous administration seemed to kind of alienate people's ideas, you know, broke their dreams. And Trump has put a lot of faith back into the American dream.
And out where they still produce vehicles in vast quantities, you'll hear similar expressions of faith in the president.
50% of the union members in my plant voted for Donald Trump.
Across the road from the Ford plant where he works, Brian Panabacker explained why so many blue-collar workers here deserted the Democrats and why Trump's record so far doesn't disappoint.
I am 100% satisfied with Donald Trump's efforts to this point. I think he has fought very hard to do exactly what he pledged to do in terms of immigration policy, securing our borders, rebuilding our military. I have been very disappointed, however, with Congress, both Democrats and Republicans, for them not being able to implement Donald Trump's legislative agenda.
Of course, there are plenty of Trump critics here too, most notably for his immigration executive orders.
The largest Muslim population in the country is in my district. The targeting of people because of their faith, of religion, is really startling me. I know he talked about it, but you just don't understand how these communities are being divided with fear and hatred. But in some ways, it's also communities that are coming together that you've never seen come together before. And that gives you a feeling of hope in some ways, but this isn't who America is.
Issues of security, national and economic, have long run harmoniously together in this state. The Yankee Museum maintains this pristine B-17, and it was here, when it opened at Willow Run, Michigan, that the world's largest factory was built.
And they're coming off the assembly line as fast as the Fords used to.
They constructed more than 8,000 Liberator bombers here, applying the car industry's assembly line methods to weapons of war.
The fact of the matter was every 55 minutes an airplane was coming off a production line, just this plant alone. And Germany, Japan, our enemies in the Mediterranean, there was no way to be able to compete with that type of production.
So President Trump came to Willow Run last month, promising to revive the car industry.
Thank you very much. This facility, this city, and this nation will once again shine with industrial might.
So this, it's clear, is the Trump style, a permanent campaign and a one-man assembly line of extravagant promises. One reason why Trump came to Willow Run is because here, on a part of the old bomber factory, they're planning a major new test facility for the automated vehicles of the future. So what do those who met him think of Trump's promise to bring car jobs back?
I can't comment on, or I couldn't hazard a guess on what that will mean for jobs in the auto industry. I will say this, that this technology is going to revolutionize the way we think about moving people and goods. And to that extent, the United States, if we don't focus on this technology, we will lose a lot of more jobs that are around engineering and making the system work, making vehicles work.
Near the plant, the Bomber Diner serves up bomber burgers and a blitz of breakfast calories. It's popular with veterans, and those who've served have often been unimpressed with their new president's intemperate use of language.
He's learning how complex things are. He thought they were simple. He said, who knew healthcare could be so complicated? Now he's saying, who knew that international relations could be so complicated? Who knew that Korea or Syria could be so complicated? Well, it's extremely complicated. And so he's really done nothing in 100 days other than get a Supreme Court judge put on the bench.
So what, I asked the woman who ran Trump's campaign in this state, should we make of the discarded promises or admissions that he hadn't realized it was all so complicated?
That's what the American people wanted. We wanted somebody to say, wow, this is tougher than I imagined. I think that level of earnestness and honesty speaks to the voters that elected him. For the president to say this is tougher than I thought it was going to be, or I'm surprised at how complicated it is, I think that speaks to his strength as a man, as a person, to be willing to say that.
And if the issue of preserving American jobs is paramount here now, what to make of this? Last month, General Motors started shedding more than 1,000 jobs at a Michigan plant. Some are going elsewhere in the US, but each new factory announcement now gets scrutinized as a success or failure for Trump and the fight against globalization.
Now, you'll hear any number of reasons advanced for why things like this are still happening. From the strength of the dollar, that's one that President Trump himself has used, through to people here locally blaming uncompetitive trading practices by their rivals, dumping of goods, cheaper production elsewhere, all of that kind of language. And it is that sort of message which, of course, carried President Trump to power, but which also now informs the debate in a place like this, where even some leading members of the Democratic Party are echoing the president's protectionist language.
What we need is a level playing field. So we need to make sure that people aren't manipulating their currency. That's what I want to see. I want to see currency manipulation enforcement.
Now, I'm hearing you as a Democrat Congresswoman effectively urging Trump to remain true to his campaign platform.
But I've said, you'll go look, you'll find me in August of 2015. I'm really and said Donald Trump was exciting people. And I have said, I think people, I don't agree with him on many things he's done. My responsibility is to work for the working men and women of my district. And if he's willing to do something that's going to fix bad trade policies that have hurt their jobs, my job is to work with him to do that.
Viewed from Michigan or Middle America more generally, the effort to revive the economy and protect jobs form the central narrative of Trump's administration so far. In that sense, he's redefined politics here, even if he's far from demonstrating that he's found the answers.
I got my eyes on you.